Folks, this is the very top of the Lexus NX lineup. What you're looking at here is a plug-in hybrid. Absolutely at the very top. What happens is that Lexus initially starts off with a regular turbocharged vehicle that you can buy. Then they go up to a vehicle that is a hybrid that you can buy, and then they go up to this. What's the difference is? Well, mainly it's price, right? Because it starts at $42,000 for the regular turbo one. Then it goes up to $46,000 starting for the hybrid. And this one starts at $60,000. That's right. Why is it so expensive? Well, we're about to find out. So let's take a little walk around, shall we? So one of the reasons this thing is so bloody expensive is because it's got the F-Sport package. So what you're starting with is already a plug-in hybrid. And arguably one of the nicer ones that Lexus builds if you like smaller vehicles. Get that? And that's because this is the smallest vehicle currently offered by Lexus that is a plug-in hybrid, among other things. But with the F-Sport package, well, basically it's wheels and tires and some badging. It does help performance a little bit. And what they tried to build with this vehicle was a luxury vehicle that could hold some stuff, hold some people, and still handle well and get good mileage. I mean, other than not having a pickup truck bed, this is basically something that is a little something for everyone, right? And perhaps it's one of the reasons why it is as expensive as it is. So let's pop the hood and have a look-see here, because power is important. Now, as a lot of you guys know, vehicles like this tend to have mediocre horsepower, but lots of torque because it has an electric motor. Well, yes, but this is a little bit different. Also, there you go. This is a powertrain that's been found in a lot of different vehicles out there. So what you're essentially looking at is a 4-cylinder engine that puts out 304 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. That is combined. So you're starting with a 2.5 liter gas engine, and total system horsepower with that electric powertrain goes up to 304 horsepower. It's a continuously variable transmission, and because this is an electric vehicle, I'm going to bring the camera guy over here. These wheels are only powered by electricity. So there's an electric motor powering these wheels in the back. And that is how Toyota has been doing hybrid all-wheel drive for many years. And now other car companies are starting to take notice, right? So, remember I told you it was plug-in hybrid? Well, you come over here, that's where you plug it in. Not really what everybody wants in terms of location, because you have to back in many cases in order to charge it. Also, no fast charging available. However, according to the car, if I were to put it in EV mode, which I will do when we drive it, this thing can go 37 miles on all electricity, on the streets and on the highway. That's not too bad, but once again, it's all about price. So is that worth the money? And we'll get to the actual price at the end of this video. So let's have a look inside. Why don't you guys hop in, and we'll have a quick look-see at the interior. Now this does have the door handles that I dislike, and also the door buttons I dislike. You push that in with your thumb to open the door. It's an electric latch. And then the door handles, even though they look like they pull, they don't. Basically, it's a pressure pad in there that registers your hand and then allows you to open the door. This is done for safety. I still don't 100% agree and or get where they're coming from with this. Door handles have been working fine for years, but it has something to do with not hitting pedestrians, especially bicyclists who are flying down the road. Okay, in we go. Now I'm just going to fire this up. Yeah, just like all other Toyota products, they now have this new screen design, and they range in size, but they are all much larger than the vehicles they replaced in terms of screen size and everything else. Important points here is that the heating, air conditioning, audio controls, almost everything you need is on the screen. Some of you guys are going to love that. Some of you are not. It's something I wanted to bring up because technically these are screens too. Look inside there. And I can make it warmer or colder. I do like the fact that it's dual climate control. However, this is also technically a screen control. So let's say I turn on the cooled seats, all right, and the heated steering wheel. There's no feedback telling my fingers that I'm using this. Not exactly ideal for driving, right? If you're in a car, driving down the highway, and you click a button, you feel it. It pulses. Something happens. This doesn't. Other displays do have haptic feedback, so when you hit something, you're going to feel a little gunk, telling you that you've actually hit it, or at least something, a sound, anything. It doesn't do that, and that's a real shame. I mean, the display is beautiful. Same goes here, and that will change when I change driving. So let's talk about that real quick. You do have some driving controls here. So the first one I want to point out is the EV charge holding. So what you do is when you're firing that up, that'll allow the vehicle to run as a gas vehicle, helping to charge the battery or not. And then you have auto EV, and this will basically shift around, making it as easy as possible for the car to maintain good gas mileage. And right now, if you look over here, I'm maintaining 41.3 mpg. And that's not too bad considering that leadfoots like Roman and I have driven this thing. So yeah, it gets really good mileage. And the best part, if you look once again back down to the display, at the lower right hand corner, you're going to see where it says EV 36 miles. That is just electricity. A hybrid vehicle, 228 miles. Now look how much gas we have left. Only half a tank. So that's not too shabby. Okay? It's all about, getting good mileage when you have a plug-in EV, right? And I think that might be where the future is going, because an awful lot of you are finally realizing that hybrids and plug-in hybrids are a pretty smart bet. Even though they are more complex, they're built better than they used to be. And in some cases, there have been studies saying that the engine wear is actually better for with plug-in hybrids and regular hybrids, because the electric motor takes a lot of strain off the gas engine. Actually lets it last longer. This is, once again, a few studies have said so, but there's nothing official out there.
I'm having trouble understanding you.
And it's just like being married. Okay. So now let's talk about a couple of the features we have in here. I really like the fact that they did this, because everybody has USB. Not everybody has USB-C yet, and I like that. Once again, it's companies like Lexus that are like, we'll keep the old stuff around for a little while longer. They were the last car company in the United States to offer a cassette player, and then later on, they were the last ones to still offer a CD player. And I think that's because they understand their audience, and their audience tends to be a little bit older. Think Roman, eating Gerber, and you're right about there. Okay, now let's talk about what we got over here. Gear lever, they've been doing this for a while. I'm still not a huge fan, but it works. Basically, you have to shove it over to the left to get it to engage, and then there's drive. There's reverse, and you can see the reverse screen here. Now this is pretty good because it gives me the bird's eye view here, which I want it. That's where I would prefer it. And it's also showing exactly the same lines that are here. This is great for parking. I've used this. You could technically black out all the windows, and I could use this and fairly accurately park. I believe, there we go. You can change the view by hitting this. I guess some people would prefer just having the red line. That red line is like, you're going to hit something. And then, there we go. You can change some of the other views. So there are a few things you can play with here. There we go. That is very helpful. Very clear display. This is probably the best part of this screen in my book. Okay, let's put it back in park. The only way you can park it, hit the button. There you go. Here's the settings I wanted to show you. Now, if I turn this to the left, I'm on Eco. Now what that does is it also changes the display here. So I'll go from there to, there we go, Eco. So you can see where it's doing charge and Eco. So as I accelerate, it'll go upwards, and then when it goes to charge, it'll go down. So then it's telling you when you're charging the battery and when you're not. Now here's the next setting, which is Sport. See how it's all red? Because red is Sport. That means fast. And then here's the other one. This is Sport Plus. I'm not 100% sure why they do it that way. I guess RPM in a car like this isn't a big deal, but whatever. It looks cool, I guess. All right, and there's that now. One final one. Boom. That's your normal charge. Or sorry, normal setting. Actually, your normal setting and Eco are exactly the same with the exception of this screen right here. Check this out. So if I hit Eco, then it says Eco Drive Mode. Hit normal, then it goes away. That's it. That's all you got. So the car is relatively advanced in that respect. However, let's talk about that elephant in the room, not just me. I'm going to put it under drive. Let's do a nice little drive around the block. Now, right about this point, you guys are probably screaming at the screen because you already know that this thing starts at $60,000. You're like, okay, I know for a fact that the Toyota RAV4 Prime, that's their plug-in, is basically this vehicle under the skin. And you would be correctamendo. They have a very similar powertrain setup. I think that some of the settings may be a little different. This certainly doesn't handle the same way as a RAV4 Prime. This thing is much more hunkered down. I've had a chance to throw this around back roads in Arizona, going through the rocks and zigzagging and everything else. This thing handles pretty good. I really do like this, other than the fact that there's just like these little issues that personally bother me that may not bother you. And we'll go over those when I wrap up. So, a couple things to mention as we're stopped in traffic in a place that traffic never happens. This vehicle does have a sunroof, but in today's competitive world, that is a dinky sunroof, my friends. I'm sorry, I'm just saying what is true. Everybody's going to the much larger panoramic style sunroofs or moonroofs or whatever you want to call them. And that to me is kind of a miss for Toyota and Lexus because their competitors are doing that on less expensive vehicles. Now, going back to the RAV4. Inside the RAV4, you are not greeted with this type of interior. This is one of the reasons you're spending easily $10,000 more. Because the RAV4 Prime can hit the $50,000 mark, which is absolutely ridiculous. And this is obviously more expensive at $10,000 more, basically. Now, everything this does, other than maybe braking, feels different than the Toyota RAV4 Prime. It accelerates a little bit differently. That might have to do with the fact that this weighs a little bit more. It handles way better. That I think is tires and wheels, to be honest with you. A little bit of suspension differences between the two as well. This is also quieter. So even if I'm putting my foot down, which this thing gets up and goes. Dude, this thing's got over 300 horsepower combined. So it moves. Once again, the RAV4 Prime, a lot faster than people thought. And in many cases, it was so fast that at one point in time, it was one of the fastest Toyotas built because it was faster than, I believe, the GT86. But then the Super came, and the Super was faster, thank God, right? But yeah, I mean, these things are very quick. A couple notes before we stop. It does have paddle shifters. Yeah, that's not for shifting. This has got a continuously variable transmission, or as Toyota call it, an eCVT. There's two different types that are available for this. But see, this will actually, it does simulate gears. Interesting. I thought this was just going to be for regenerative braking. Huh, I didn't know that. See, I learn something new every day. Okay, so let's pull out of this, show you a couple more things, and we will come to the conclusion of whether or not this is a vehicle worth buying. Out we go. Okay. A couple more things I wanted to show you while the airplane is buzzing us is, let's go to the back of the vehicle real quick. Now, this is a This Just In episode, so we're not going into a super deep review of this because this vehicle is going to be used for something else as well. However, you may have been wondering about cargo capacity and also, here we go. Yeah, you notice what's not there? No spare tire. It's something that's really regrettable. So is all the extra noise around me. Let's have a look at the back seat. Come on in. Let me shut this down. All right, so I am 6'1", and I am going to sit behind myself. I have pretty short legs and kind of a long torso and long arms because I'm an ape. So let's talk about the room back here. Once again, very similar to the RAV4, right? Overall room isn't too bad. Headroom is actually really good. Leg room, even if Andre was sitting in front of me and he's a good 1.5 inches to 2 inches taller than me, oh God, he's more than that. He's 2 inches plus taller than me. I think I could probably fit behind him without my legs touching, and my feet do go under the seat here. Big plus. Rear vents, oh yes. Can't stand SUVs that don't have it. Down here we have, let's see here, there's USB-C and USB-C. So there's only one USB in here, at least up there. But it's still, they're able to accommodate everybody. And remember, this does have that sunroof over there too. So the roof design altogether works well. The rear seat isn't at a bad angle at all, actually. It's relatively comfortable. And let's pull this down here. And 2 cup holders. Yeah. And that's about it. Really, the whole thing is built just like a Toyota RAV4, just with much nicer feeling materials. I mean, I gotta admit, the seats are pretty nice. And the back seats are nice as well. So, a luxurious version of the RAV4 Prime. Actually, you know what? I would say this is a Toyota RAV4 Prime in a tuxedo. There, it's all done. Let's go out and talk about price. By the way, it has 22.7 cubic feet of cargo space in the back behind the second row, which is not great. Okay. So remember I was telling you about the pricing between all 3 of the brothers? 42, 46, and 60. I have the sticker here. And it's a little bit more than that because it has that F Sport package and because it has, they even charge to put the charger in there? I dislike that. $66,535 MSRP, but that is at least with delivery. That's a lot of dough for a vehicle like this. And the question, of course, is it worth over $10,000 more than the Toyota RAV4 Prime? You know, if you really want that nice interior, you don't want to spend that much money, guess what? You can get the hybrid version of this and save yourself like 15 grand. Is it worth it to have a plug-in hybrid? That's a lot of money for that. I'll let you guys decide. Anyway, thanks for joining me once again. This Just In. You're going to see more of this in the near future.